Hi, may I ask who I'm speaking with?
Yes, this is Cindy.
Hi, how are you? This is a Theodora Antar. We had spoken a while ago when I was with the whole thing with my daughter Angelina. I don't know if you
Yes,
remember
I
me.
remember.
Hi, how are you?
I'm okay. How are you doing?
Honestly, I'm not doing that well at all. I have not been able to see Angelina in 8 weeks. My ex does not allow me to see her at all. I lost custody of her because they said I lied for reporting sexual abuse. And all this shit that happened with DCF and the police and the forensic interview that was a complete joke. They then said I lied. The judge said I lied and took my daughter away and said I can only have supervised visits only when dad says. And since May 25th to now, he has said no visitation. He let me see her less than 2 days in the last 5 months. So how do you think I am doing?
I'm sorry.
So I guess that I wish you guys would have told me that like reporting the sexual abuse will increase your chances of losing custody, and I would have never reported it.
Well, I don't know that that's necessarily the case.
That's what
You
it
know
says on the
how
state of Connecticut's website. Did you know that? It says that on the website for the state of Connecticut that when a woman reports domestic violence, her chances of losing custody is like 30%. When a father does, his chances is like 11%. When a woman alleges sexual abuse of her child in a custody or divorce, her chances of losing custody is like 47%. But the father's is like 20%. So your chances of losing custody for reporting sexual abuse of your child more than doubles if you're a mother in the state of Connecticut. And if you'd like, I'd be glad to send anybody in that organization, everybody, to see this, to share with people.
Well, unfortunately, Theodora, I don't. The studies where they come from, how people are basing the things they're saying.
No, this is from the state of Connecticut.
I hear you. I hear you.
So the state itself
you
is saying it, not just any random person. Our state has this on their website.
Right, the state of Connecticut website. I understand. And, I'm not saying anybody is deliberately misleading another person. However, anything and everything that I read, see on the websites and the internet, I take or try to take in context. I can't speak to that, whether or not how true that is, the statistics. I do know that when there is sexual abuse or physical abuse of a child and there's an investigation open and the parents are estranged and there are issues between the two, it isn't unlikely, I get that the parents end up in a disagreement. Family court often gets involved. Why the court made the decision that they made in your case, I don't know.
No, I do know, and I'd like to honestly, I'd like to just share it with you, please, because the reason she did not see any of the videos that my daughter was acting out and describing the abuse, she did not see not one piece of evidence at all. She refused to look at evidence, whether it was records from the doctor, the hospital, anything. She just wouldn't look at any of the evidence. She denied me the opportunity to testify. She denied me the opportunity to get a continuance to get an attorney. She violated every single one of mine and my daughter's rights under federal, state law, and rights as crime victims. And
the only thing I can suggest to you, unfortunately, is that this is something that's going to have to be handled by an attorney. And
well, I'm calling you guys. The reason I'm calling you guys is because I just got off. Hold on. What? Hello?
I'm here.
The reason I'm calling you is because I literally was on the phone with Officer Bailey from the Orange Police Department for the last, literally, we were on the phone for 45 minutes, and I told her about all this because, I've been trying to, speak out and, speaking, publicly about this and on social media, and, I'm getting tremendous amount of support of people saying to me, wow, you need to contact the police. This needs to be investigated. You need to contact the FBI. This is absolutely insane. I did nothing wrong. I was never proved unfit. DCF said they had no concerns about me at all.
And what did Officer Bailey advise?
Well, I contacted Officer Bailey because I said, I want you to see if you guys could look at these videos and, see all this. Because the New Britain Detective Steves, she testified in court that she didn't have time to read my emails. She didn't have time to look at the videos. She said that she said the videos I was leading her. The videos aren't leading. The videos are her saying what she's doing. And like, it's enough where she should have gotten that third forensic interview.
Did Officer Bailey say that they're going to look at these videos?
She said, I sent 2 of them to one of the other officers. She said she's going to look at it. She said she's going to call New Britain and get the information from all of those previous ones of what happened. And she said that she's going to be off for the next 3 days, but she said that she completely sympathizes with me. She said that she completely understands what I'm going through and that she just thinks this is absolutely crazy. She's like, can you get the judge recused? Like, she's like, could you try to find a lawyer? She said, do you have any contact with the Rape Crisis Center? And I told her like that I spoke to you in the past and that you had, last time we talked, it was like you're like, oh, hold on, let me call you back about the whole third interview thing. And then I never heard back. And then they canceled the third interview. And then Matt is going around telling people that his landlord, which is his brother-in-law, that owns that house in New Britain where all this abuse was happening, because now Matt doesn't even live there in New Britain anymore. And they said that, he's connected with organized crime. His family is one of the crime families out of Brooklyn that was involved in the mafia. And so this Matt is going around telling everybody that he's paying people off and bribing people, and this is now that he's trying to keep her away from me as much as he can. He's completely isolated me from my daughter. And like 8 weeks doesn't sound like a long time, but think about how the time before that when I saw her, it was only for 3 hours, and then before that it was a whole month of not seeing her. So it's like, imagine seeing her once every month to 2 months for like a couple hours, never knowing when or if you're going to see her again. And now it's completely turned into, he just stopped letting me see her completely.
And that's why, unfortunately, your only recourse from what I can see is to retain an attorney.
Okay, but I don't have any money. I don't have any money. So, like, you're basically saying, like, here, it's a pay to play. You want your daughter back, you got to pull some cash out like Matt does.
I'm not saying that.
Okay, so the Officer Bailey told me...
To look at New Haven Legal Aid.
New Haven Legal Aid is not... No, listen to me. You know that New Haven Legal Aid is not accepting people right now, so... Again.
Well, that changes from day to day.
No, it doesn't. There's federal funding that gives Rape Crisis Center the ability to exist. There's federal funding that's specifically there, and Jennifer's Law also designates some funding for people dealing with situations with domestic violence and abuse. There's also federal funding designating states have to do things to help children who are at risk. Nobody is doing anything. What does Rape Crisis Center do then? What does New Haven Legal Aid do? What are they doing with all this money? Nobody's helping? You guys literally are saying, sorry, if you can't afford a lawyer, go get a free one. Call one of these places to get a free one. But the places don't offer anything. So
because at this point, because this is in family court, the Rape Crisis Center or the police department, without any kind of continued open investigation, is not in a position to be able to help you.
So you're saying that you've never in your life, in how long you've been doing this, you've never seen a situation where an investigation was reopened? You've never seen that? Or have you?
Quite frankly, I really can't remember one. Now, if there are new allegations, if something else comes up, sure, they can open up.
Yeah, but that's a new investigation. A new allegation is something different. What I'm saying is to reopen an investigation that was closed because, hey, maybe we need to take a second look at this. Maybe instead of saying that, you're saying to me that you think that you agree that my daughter's not being sexually abused based on these investigations they did.
I'm not saying that at all.
Okay, so what do you think based on your experience?
Legal representation.
No, I don't need legal representation because this judge made it so I can't go back to court. Every time I try to file a motion...
Well, the judge, first of all, that's an attorney's job. His job is to represent...
No, it's not. If you can't afford an attorney, they don't appoint one to you. It's not like a criminal case where you get an attorney appointed to you.
I understand.
So listen to me. Somebody who cannot afford an attorney has no choice but to represent themselves. Like, I have no choice but to represent myself. Listen, I've gone to like 50 different consultations with different lawyers in the last 5 months.
Theodora, listen, I do hear what you're saying. I can't imagine not being able to.
But
see
why
your
can't you
daughter.
just listen?
Really
You're just
can't.
cutting me off. Like, at least listen to.
Because I can't. Because you're not hearing.
No,
me.
because you're not listening.
understand
If you guys are here to be
looking for
supportive,
help from this office, we are not in a position to help you.
how are you not if you don't even let me finish what I'm
We
asking?
are not legal advocates.
I'm not asking for a legal advocate. I'm asking you
What
to
are you
listen.
asking for?
I'm asking you to
Understand.
stop cutting me off and interrupting me and hear me out.
But
Please.
Theodora,
I'm
you
asking
don't
for you to just
hear
take a
us
minute
out.
to hear what I'm
sorry,
saying.
Theodora,
It's-
I'm going to have to hang up now.
Are you serious? Like, I'm calling for support. The police told me to call you guys, and now you're saying you're going to hang up when I'm
What kind
asking.
of support? There is
If
no
you just
open
give me a minute, if
allegation
you
for
would just
sexual
allow
abuse,
me
the
to
case
speak.
has been closed.
If you would just allow me to speak, please.
I will allow you to speak, but I'm not going to stay on the phone for an hour and hear you rehash this case.
I didn't rehash anything. Last time we spoke, you told me that you would call me back, and you never did.
Quite frankly, I don't remember ever not calling you back.
You
or
don't
getting back to
remember.
when I said I would.
You don't remember. You don't remember calling me and saying to me, the forensic interview that was scheduled at Klingberg for your daughter, based on the new allegations that were made, you don't remember calling me to say that the forensic interview, the third forensic interview, was being canceled, and that you said you were going to find out why and what's going on, and you'd get back to me, and you never did. Why did they...
Quite frankly, because my understanding was Klingberg let you know that there would be no additional.
No, it was
forensic
you.
interview.
It was you. You're the one who let
Okay,
me
How
know.
can I help you right now then?
I want to know why they didn't do a third forensic.
I don't know. You'll have to talk to them.
Who's
And
them?
my understanding is another forensic was not done because Theodora, your daughter, had 2 forensic interviews, and as far as Yale was concerned, she did not disclose that anything that would lead anybody to believe she needed a third interview. They don't like to interview children 2, 3, 4 times. And they did not feel, that was my understanding, that it was in the child's best interest to have a third interview. And that's what drives the process, is the best interest of the child. Yale did not find any substantiation in their forensic interview. That was their take on the interview. That is up to them to decide as the people who do the interview. And that's why a third one was not done. Police apparently, at the end of the day in New Britain, did not feel that they had anything further that they could keep a criminal investigation open, so they closed the investigation. So at this point, it is not open with New Britain Police. And I understand you spoke to Detective Bailey, but what is alleged to have happened to your daughter didn't happen in Orange. It happened in New Britain. That's why New Britain got the case. So if Detective Bailey said she will check into it, then the only thing I can tell you is she said she's off for the next couple of days. Check back in with her next week. Or if she told you that she would contact you, I suppose she will. I can't imagine if nothing was reported as a crime in the town of Orange, then typically the local police, they can't open a case on something that didn't happen in their jurisdiction.
So, like I
That's
said,
my understanding
yeah,
of the way
no,
the law works.
no, like that's actually incorrect, and I'd like to correct you on that. Is that in the state of Connecticut, any police department can investigate a felony offense. Any police department in the state does not have to be where it happened. That's only if it's a misdemeanor. We're talking about sexual assault of a child.
No, that isn't true.
That is true.
Theodora.
Actually,
The fact of the
are you an
matter
attorney? That is true.
If you are
I just
sexually
no.
assaulted,
That's not
you
true.
have
The
to
fact that you
report
guys
it
aren't
in
even
the-
being educated on the laws is really concerning. It is
You
true.
know what? I'm not going to debate this with you.
Okay, you know what?
I'm not going to debate this with you.
Okay, you know what? You guys, your paycheck is coming from federal funding where you're supposed to help victims, and you're sitting here giving me an attitude.
We have done everything.
No, you
we
have
can
not.
to help
I'd like
you
to
at
be
this
heard.
point.
I'd like to respond to what you said. I sat quiet and listened while you spoke, and I'd like to respond without you coming back and attacking me and accusing me.
not attacking
Then
you,
please
Theodora.
listen. Then please listen. I'd like to be heard, please. Do you understand what trauma is? You guys clearly don't get training.
I
If-
do understand what trauma is.
Okay, can you
Theodora,
please let me
and
speak?
I have listened.
Then can you let me speak?
have
Okay, I'm going to respond to what you said. When I let you talk, I was so respectful. I didn't interrupt. I just want to respond to what you said. You said that the reason that they said, oh, we don't do 2-3 interviews. Well, I spoke to Detective Steves, and Detective Steves said to me, she said, the first interview did not count. She said, when they say they don't want to re-traumatize kids with all these interviews, the reason why is because when kids are older and they're actually talking about details of the abuse and things like that, it can be reliving the trauma. However, when a child can't even make the first question and they don't even ask anything in the interview, doesn't count. No, please, just let me, please. I'm not saying about the second interview. I'm saying she said to me the first one didn't count. The first one, she only asked one question. Do you have private parts? Angelina said no, and they closed the interview, right? She couldn't even answer the first question, and they ended the investigation right there. Then she started saying, I'm doing what Dominic does to me. And in the second interview, when they asked her, what does Dominic do? She said, he sits on me, and he has me sit on her. Her My Chart says, the child disclosed that Dominic sits on top of her and has her sit on top of him. And we recommend no more unsupervised contact with Dominic. That is what it says in My Chart. That is what the person who did the second interview stated and disclosed. So when you said to me, Yale said there was nothing disclosed, that's incorrect. And I could show you the My Chart that literally says that about what I just said. And then after that, a new disclosures came out where you were with me that day when you came to New Britain with me, and we sat there the whole time. Do you remember that? And I told them how she said all this stuff, and then they said, oh, well, we're not going to do a third forensic. They told me they would let an exception for her to bring her toy. If she has an opportunity to go there and do the thing with the toy, she would have been able to disclose it properly with what they're asking her. And not to mention...
But they didn't.
They didn't, and that was a big problem that they didn't do that. And I'm asking you why they didn't do that. You were at the meeting, and you're saying you don't know.
No, I said that I can't... There are a lot of CACs that conduct forensic interviews around the state. From my understanding, most have pretty much the same protocols. Some may very well allow a child to bring an object, a stuffed animal with them. Others do not. And my understanding was they were not going to allow that.
Who's they? When you say they, when you say they, wait, when you say they weren't going to allow it, are you talking about Yale or Klingberg?
I believe that I was talking about Yale.
Right, and that's why we said Yale wasn't going to allow it. Yale said absolutely not, and that's why...
And
Klingberg said yes.
To do the third interview.
No, Klingberg said they were going to do it. It was scheduled, and then DCF said they're not doing it. Matthew testified in court that he said DCF put a stop to it. DCF said, no, we're not going to do that third interview, even though the police wanted to do it. So it's like concerning that all of a sudden DCF stops it, and then Matthew saying in court that they stopped it because they said I'm lying. Where's the records in DCF that I'm lying? No one even...
I don't know.
Okay, I know you're not part of DCF and stuff, but I'm just saying, like, I just feel like nobody's investigating this. And if you say, look, there's different CACs and some of them have different policies, and a child has a special need or a special accommodation that can actually help investigate it properly, why wouldn't we then give it a shot at one of those ones that has a policy that'll accommodate what the child's asking? Especially
what I'm saying to you is you're calling us, and all of these things you're asking, we do not have the power to do.
I'm not asking you to do anything. Do you guys have the power to be an advocate for somebody or be a supportive? Do you have the power to listen if somebody calls and needs someone to talk to? Is that stuff that your budget that you guys get all these millions of dollars in grants covers? Because if I'm not calling to be told, sorry, I can't help you. Like, I'm going to hang up on you. I'm calling because I'm trying to speak to you guys. You guys were directly even part of this. And so it's like, I want to at least be acknowledging the fact that, look, everybody was all saying that, oh yeah, we're supporting Angelina. But now it's, oh no, it's fine for her to be with Dominic every night by himself and no adults present. That's totally fine. Don't worry. We're not going to do a third forensic. We're not going to explain why. We're just going to silence you and make it so you can never see your kid again. Is it? And so, I mean, I say it to you and you're just like, well, it's like so nonchalant. It's like, there's no effect.
Nonchalant at all.
It just seems like from the reaction that you don't think it's a big deal that I haven't seen my daughter for more than 2 days.
It's a very big deal.
Okay, but she's 4 years old. She's 4 years old, and I've had less than 48 hours of visit with her in the last 6 months. Do you think that that's okay?
I can only sympathize with your situation. Yes, not seeing your daughter has to be beyond difficult. Absolutely.
Okay, and like this is the Rape Crisis Center. This is a crisis. My child reported sexual abuse. Like, I want everyone to look at these videos and see what my child's saying and investigate this. And you can't just say, oh, well, they closed the investigation, so that's it. You're never going to get justice. Like, it doesn't work like that.
If you want other people to look at these videos, the people that would need to do that would be the people that would be investigating a crime. And I believe, from what I understand, New Britain police said they were not going to look at any more videos. I don't know now. Orange.
Well, they didn't say that. They said, when did they say they weren't going to look at more videos?
When we were at the meeting.
No, they didn't say that. They told me put everything.
They did say that.
No, they didn't. They said to me, put everything on a flash drive, and they made an appointment to come to my house in Orange and pick up they wanted me to write a written statement and give them the flash drive. I got sick that week, and I was so sick, and I kept trying to finish it, and I told them, look, I want you guys to at least take what I did so far, and I gave them a flash drive with like 30 videos on it, and they came to my house and picked up like the first draft of my statement. They said, you can come next week and sign it and swear that it's true, but for now, we'll start looking at everything. And then after that, they're like, oh, well, after they said, don't come to sign the statement, they said that they're not going to do the third interview, and they said that they were gonna look at things or whatever, but then they just said, oh, well, we're closing it because they said that they supposedly asked Matthew if he was home on that day, and he says, oh yeah, I was only gone for like an hour at this time. And that, like, he sent them some screenshot of a still from a camera in his house. And she literally testified and told Family Relations, the detective, that he sent them a screenshot and the timestamp didn't even match of the day he was saying it was. But they're
but they still
no, but listen, like, I just want you, I know, but it's like, can you just please hear me out? Like, it's like, have you ever had a case where somebody was wrongfully convicted, or somebody was accused of lying and it turns out they're not? It's like, do you think that police don't ever like drop the ball, or DCF doesn't ever drop the ball, or do you feel like people get victimized and hurt by the system? Honestly, just like as you as a person, do you feel like that happens? Can you at least acknowledge that happens sometimes?
I can acknowledge, Theodora, that you, lost custody of your daughter. And I don't know exactly what happened in family court. I have no opinion one way or another about why those decisions were made. I wasn't there. A judge, all I can say in reality is, at this point, this is what you're working with.
No, we're not. I didn't say anything about custody. I'm not talking about custody. I'm talking about the sexual assault. I'm talking about the sexual abuse investigation. I'm talking about the fact that they said, no, listen to me. I'm telling you why. They said that Matthew, you're not even letting me finish though. Matthew had detective, said to him, was she alone with Dominic all day on this day? And he says, oh no, she was only alone for 2 hours. And the only way she investigated that was Matt sent her a screenshot that had the wrong timestamp on it. So obviously it's not a legitimate screenshot if the timestamp doesn't match, and she said it didn't match. And then he sent her a picture that he was at the grocery store at a certain time. None of those things prove that Angelina wasn't sexually abused on that day.
So I'm asking you, you're telling me this. You asked me to hear you and hear what it is you're telling me, but I don't know what it is you want me to do.
I'm saying that the fact that this was not properly investigated, my daughter was not allowed.
I can't make that decision.
Okay, but because of the fact that it was not, I'm not asking you to make a decision or not. I'm telling you that it was not. And the records reflect that. All of the records and documentation and all the recordings and all the proof I have of everything clearly demonstrates that. My daughter is in danger. I'm highly concerned. I spoke to Officer Bailey. I explained the whole situation, and she didn't interrupt me once. And you know what? It's so hard to get people to listen to you, especially with people like me has a disability like PTSD and ADHD. Nobody gets trained in the state of Connecticut in any of these places to deal with victims who are dealing with trauma. And you know what? Sexual abuse of a child is extremely serious, and it just seems like there's no advocacy in this state. Do you have any resources you can refer to me?
Very involved.
Excuse me?
I said, I'm sorry you feel that way. You've had a lot of people hear you, listen.
You said no, that's not what you said. You said that's not what you said. That's not what you said. You said this office was very involved. In what way were you involved?
We were at the interviews. As an advocate for you, we don't.
You were at one interview. You were there at one interview, and you sat there.
Yes. And there was somebody else at the first interview of your daughter from our office.
Okay.
I was involved at the New Britain Police Department.
Okay.
I followed through with DCF, but I cannot change.
Okay, but I asked you a question. I'm not asking you to change anything, and I'm not telling you to do things that I know you guys can't do. I'm asking you if you can have any resources at all to refer me to. Officer Bailey told me to call you guys as my go-to thing to see if there's any resources at all that you can think that can possibly help with any type of advocacy, any type of thing at all that can help with this really, really difficult situation that's affecting me and both of my children. Is there anything?
At this point, you need legal advocacy, and you're telling me you can't afford a private attorney. And do I think it's right? Yeah, I understand. A lot of people can't afford private attorneys. I get that. They're a lot of money. The problem is, the only other thing I have to offer is legal services, legal aid. And I know they're difficult as well to navigate. And it's a problem. It's a problem like trying to help people find homes, because homelessness is a problem. But I can only give you the resources that I have, and that's legal aid resources. That's New Haven legal aid. There's Hartford legal aid. But you have to apply for it.
But can I ask you a question? Isn't Hartford, like those ones, don't you have to live in the town to apply?
I don't believe so. There is also the Connecticut Women's Education and Legal Fund.
And what's the
information? They might be able to help you with legal aid.
Are you able to give me a list of these things via email so I could try calling all of these? Because again, it's like I call all the things, every single thing, and it's like a dead end. So are you able to provide me a list of any and all possible ones for people who cannot afford a private?
I can give you New Haven legal aid, but you ought to.
No, I'm saying any other ones. And no, New Haven legal aid is not taking on new clients. Can you give me a list of any of those other ones you mentioned? Like that last one, I don't think I've heard of that one.
That education is called, or that organization is called QUELS, and it's the Connecticut Women's Education and Legal Fund.
Okay, and what is it run by? Like, what's it through? Is it their own?
It is a state organization, and I am looking for the telephone number as we sit here. There's two numbers attached to this. There is an info line and a referral line. The referral line is 860-524-0601. They also have an 800 number, 800-479-2949. They might be able to help you access legal aid services in the state. And if I can come up with others, I will send them to you in email. I'm sure that I still have your email here. But that would be, and I hear your agitation. I can't imagine how I would feel if I couldn't see my daughter. It's got to be agonizing. But here's what I'm going to tell you is I would tell anyone. If I were where you are right now, as far far as I can see, the best recourse is you have to have legal representation, however you find it, however you get it.
I know, but you don't understand. I've been trying to get a lawyer for all these months, and even if I say, look, I'll max out a credit card, I can't get a lawyer to take my case. And the only reason I lost custody is because she said I lied about the sexual abuse. So it's like, it's not even like, oh, you can't see your daughter because you're a heroin addict. You can't see your daughter because you're abusive. Like, they said I lied about the sexual abuse because these investigations were labeled as unsubstantiated because she didn't pass this forensics. When she told them in the videos, he's sitting on me as she's humping the toy, and in the forensics, she disclosed he sits on me. And a 3-year-old says that, and they say it's not good enough, and then they won't let her use the toy, and then they turn it all around on me and say, "Look, you made another report. Oh, you're losing custody. You'll never see your kid again now." And like nobody will let me go back to court. Like it's like I cannot accept the fact that I did absolutely nothing wrong. I have sole custody of my 9-year-old. How can I only get supervised visits a couple hours a year with Angelina, but be okay to have sole custody of Juliana and be her sole legal guardian? That's okay? So no one cares about her, but Angelina, no, I can't even see her at all? It's like, I just want you to, like, just for a second, like, just pretend it's you. Like, just put yourself in my shoes.
I hear the desperation in your voice. I hear it. I do. And I empathize with it. I truly do. The only thing I can tell you, like I said, if the court makes a ruling like that, it has to be in a legal record. It is something that, as far as I can see, the only people that can help you are people who can take a case like this and represent you in court. That's the only person at this point that I think you have any recourse with. A lawyer can look at the case and hopefully take the case and figure out from their expertise what the next step is.
So you guys don't have any, like, pro bono lawyers that you work with either? Anybody that,
No.
like, tries to help victims, like...
We don't. We're not a pro bono legal service. We're an advocacy center, and no, we don't have legal services available. We don't. If I did, I would give them to you.
I just didn't know if, like, you guys worked with any other agencies or anything, like, if any other things offer that, like...
No. When I give people, when they end up in a situation where they need legal services, I make referrals to the same places I'm telling you about. Now, when people, and there are people sometimes that have had a crime happen, and whether or not there's an arrest, sometimes they want to seek a civil attorney to try to get damages, monetary damages. Even at that point, we don't have civil attorneys that work. We don't even recommend. We simply say, contact a civil attorney. I try to caution people to say, a civil attorney for the purposes of litigation. Yes, there are a couple red flags. A civil attorney, now I'm not in your case, no, because this is family court in your case, but if a civil attorney asks for money up front, that's something that you should question, because if you're going to sue and the attorney's going to help you do that, then typically they would get a percentage of any monies that they recuperated rather than asking up front. That is the extent of what I say to any of my clients. I'm not a lawyer. I can't recommend an attorney. We don't have any that we work with at all. I simply refer people, and yes, if someone's in a position to hire a private attorney, of course. It's not fair in society, but it is what it is, correct? The more money you have, yes, you could hire a private attorney. That doesn't mean that an attorney through one of the legal aid services is not going to work for you. And at this point, if you're telling me you can't afford a private attorney, that is, from where I'm sitting, your only recourse. You're going to have legal representation in order to work through this and figure out what, if anything, your next steps can be legally to change, or at least be able to have the discussion to change your visitation rights with your daughter. I can't do that. I can't do that, and I do hear what you're saying, and I can only imagine what it feels like not to see your daughter. And I hear what it's doing to you as well. And that concerns me as well, because I will tell you this, and I don't think I have to. When you try to reach out for attorneys, Theodora, you need to hold it together. As difficult as it is, as panicked as you must feel, because you're not seeing your daughter. If you come off in that way, if you come off giving the impression to people that you are not in control of yourself, then you're not going to make sense with the people that you talk to. So I talk to people all the time when DCF is in their life, and for whatever reason DCF has decided, at least for the time being or how long, they can't have their children living with them. So they only have, and I tell people, the best thing you can do is contact the proper legal services if you can, and remain calm, because when you don't, you can't think straight, you can't put one foot in front of the other, and you're going to exhaust yourself completely at that point, and then you're not going to be able to do her any good or you any good. And I'm hoping that at some point this situation gets better, where you are able to see your daughter more. But they are going, at this point, I can't tell you. I wasn't there. For whatever reason, this judge made this decision that they did not feel that it was in her best interest to be with you right now.
Like, can I send it to you just so you could see? Like, I really would like to just share the opinion with you. She wrote 2 legal opinions, and they're all talking about the sexual abuse, and I just feel like it just should be shared, where it's like, this is all public record, and I have appeals going, like, I don't know if you know, I'm in law school, so it's like, I feel like, for me, it's like, I understand so much about what is going on here, and like what the law says, and like the best interest of the child, and like everything. And it's like, everything is like the opposite here. And it's like, if he's saying he's paying people and this and that, it's like, it just makes me feel like I have no hope, and like so many lawyers won't take my case. And then it's like to get one that will take it, they're like, oh, I need like $30,000 up front and a retainer, and I charge $500 an hour, and this is going to take us hours just to look at it. And it's like, I'm going to have nothing. I'm going to be homeless. But what's, like, can I at least send the thing that the judge said to you so you could like look at it? I know you can't change things and stuff, but I just
I can't change it, and I can't give an opinion on it.
But could you at least like look at it so you could just see exactly what I'm saying?
I think you're best sending it to anybody that will give you a consultation for legal services. That's where I would start. Me reading this is not going to help anything. I can't comment on it. I can't tell you, are they right? Are they wrong?
I know, but then at least you could just understand, because like you said, you're like, I wasn't there, and it's like,
I do understand.
I just want you to see exactly why the judge is saying that it's in her best interest. That's all.
I don't think that's a good idea. I think that needs to be given to the people that can help you. And I'm not in a position to do that. And I don't want to give you some type of false idea that I can. I can't. And I'm not saying that to be brutal or insensitive. I'm saying it because I do know how desperate you are. And I don't want to encourage you in any way to think that I, in any way, shape, or form, can do anything to change this situation.
No, but you could at least, like, understand and have a better understanding of it, so that if I'm like trying to explain,
I don't have to read the legalese to understand that you have lost custody of your daughter. And I'm a mother. I certainly can understand any parent feeling the way you do. I do understand that. So anything I read isn't going to change anything. Even if I thought, under any circumstances in anyone's case, that the right decision was made or the wrong decision was made, it's not going to change or ease your pain. You need legal representation, somebody who can look at this with legal eyes and a way to talk with you to figure out what your next steps could be to at least seeing her more often. Because I don't see it going from one way to the other in a short period of time. It might be a process.
Well, it's not like the court has any say in it anymore. It's completely my ex's say. So it's just sad because like it's totally up to him. If he wanted to let me see her every single day, he could. Instead, he lets me see her never. So it's like the court isn't even restricting me. He is, which is really sad. You know what I mean? Because it's like you could have custody of somebody. I have sole custody of my 9-year-old, but she sees her dad every other weekend and whatever.
Well, that's got to be a legal agreement. According to what you're saying, the court said it's at his discretion.
Right. And so what I'm trying to explain is that makes it abusive because, like, for him, if they say it's at his discretion and then he offers me no visitation,
that's the way it's written legally, then yes.
Okay, but I'm not trying to say it's illegal. I'm saying I'm saying the fact that they give it up to him. He's supposed to encourage a relationship between mother-daughter. It's in her best interest to see her sibling, her grandmother, to go to church. He took her out of school. He took her out of therapy. He took her out of church, out of Sunday school. She can't see her sister, her mother, her grandmother, her cousins, anybody. All of us are isolated from her. This is why I want people in all these organizations to start.
And that's why these are the things you need to be able to say if you can get an attorney to hear your case.
But do you guys know about Jennifer's Law and how like all this stuff is considered abuse? Because like you guys help people with domestic violence and crimes and all this stuff, and it's all
of these things can be points a legal representative can make.
No, I understand that, but it's like that only helps you if you actually get a court date. When you don't get a court date because the judge won't let you file anything, even if it's an emergency motion, then you just never see your child again. So it's like
if you're not going to get a court date, if you can't do that, then you need an attorney to help you try to accomplish that.
Yeah, and if I can't get an attorney, then it's like a cycle of, oh, you'll never see your daughter again, because nobody can label this as abuse. Nobody's going to call it what it is and say, oh, according to Public Act number 2178, it states that isolating someone from their family member is considered to be coercive control, which in the state of Connecticut is domestic violence. If I told you he beat me up and I'm bleeding everywhere, everyone would say, wow, that's abuse. You were abused. But you can't say I'm being abused and my daughter's being abused when she's being isolated from her family and isolated from all support systems. Why is it that everybody just looks the other way with this with domestic violence when it's not physical?
I don't know what to say to you beyond the fact that, as I said, you've lost custody of your daughter, and I can't imagine what you're going through, and you're looking for anything and everything that can help.
Yeah, and I just want everybody to know, like, if you have children and your child's being sexually abused, that you got to know that if you report it to DCF, your chances of losing custody is going to go up exponentially high, and you'll likely lose custody. And so it's like most people should probably not report the abuse at that point, because why would you then want to lose custody of your child and then you can't protect them? So I think it's like really scary that the state is allowing this to happen. Any organizations like this, the crisis center that's supposed to help, you guys can't help. You're telling me, you're pointing me to somebody else who that person can't help. So in other words, nobody can help. And so kids are getting abused and trafficked in DCF, and everybody's getting money from federal incentives. So it's really, really concerning. But anyways, I want to try that place that you gave me. the new number that you said, Quill or whatever it's called, and I think I looked it up. It said they're only open till like 2:00, so I sent them a message. So hopefully
Okay.
I'll try maybe tomorrow, but hopefully somebody will help. Because I do agree that a lawyer, can help me, but again, it's like Connecticut has such a small bar and everybody's friends with each other, and this is what I'm starting to learn with the law. It's like it's all about who you know, and people just do favors for each other. No one even cares about what the law says. So it's like then, you can't get somebody who's going to help somebody if it's going against one of their friends. And the judges and lawyers and all of them are buddies, and they're all part of the bar. And so it's just like now it's like no wonder why I've done like 60 different consultations and nobody will take my case. I had lawyers say to me, "Sorry, but I can't go against the judge. This is my bread and butter." "Oh, I'm sorry, but your case is hopeless. The judge already said you lied, so you can't ever do anything. You can't get a lawyer. Sorry. Oh, you looked for a fee waiver? You're not going to be able to afford me." Like, this is what I've been told. Like, it's really sad. Like, I would love to have a lawyer. If anyone would actually be willing to stand up for what's right and not stand up for their money that they get. Because my daughter's not for sale, and everybody's trying to profit off of trafficking her. And I'm not, I don't care if I have to go to the media and continue speaking up, because this isn't going to just go away. And, you say, oh, the investigation's closed. Just because they didn't investigate and close the investigation without investigating it does not mean that my daughter wasn't abused. And I'm not going to just sit here and say, oh, yeah, it's okay that the investigation did their job and they didn't find anything. No, it wasn't an investigation. It was a BS thing that Yale did. And I'm not going to sit here and just say that, oh, yeah, I feel like they did the right thing. They didn't. So it's okay. But anyways, I know, like you said, you can only do so much. So I don't want to continue to go on because I know you can only do so much. But I mean, are you able to, like, if I need to talk, like, can I call just to, like, have somebody to talk to sometimes? Like,
Yes, of course you can do that.
okay.
And Theodora, hear me, okay? I need you to hear me. You've lost custody of your daughter. We all know what that can feel like, or we can at least empathize. I urge you as well, because it's only in your best interest and in the long run hers, when and if this situation begins to change. If you are not working with a therapist, do it now. Do it now. You need to take care of yourself, because as you have so pointed out, you are in agony, and it does a lot. It does a lot to your emotional health. It does a lot to your psyche. You're not going to do yourself, the daughter you have right now, or the daughter that you're not able to see, any good if you make yourself so completely sick that you can't think through to the next step. You have got to take care of yourself. Of course, I can empathize. But please, if you haven't already, please consider mental health counseling. Any parent who has either lost custody or for whatever reason is not now having their child in their life that they have had, it's a loss one way or another. It is going to affect you emotionally, psychologically. You need to take care of yourself. And as you pointed out, you have another daughter at home. Take care of yourself.
Okay, thank you. All right.
Take care.
Okay,
All right.
bye.